Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Matt, and this is a video for anyone that's thinking about quitting learning a language. Maybe you're really struggling and you're a beginner and you just feel like you're not making progress. Well, I think that this is just something that a lot of people don't talk about. And I'm here to tell you that don't give up, right? Obviously. But I think that there's a couple of things you can do to help you to overcome this this overwhelming feeling of just despair or being frustrated that's maybe getting in the way of you achieving the results and the goals that you want with language learning and overcoming that really tough beginner phase that a lot of people get stuck with. So first off, just kind of take note that most people quit in that early stage, right? They don't really accomplish too much. They kind of get excited with the language. It's kind of cool and they give up. So you're not the only one that kind of goes through this really tough barrier at the beginning. So just be aware of that, right? It's not just you, it's a lot of people, and most people end up quitting when learning a language. So just with that out of the way, it's totally normal to feel overwhelmed and not to know where to go and what to do. So the first thing you should probably do if you really want to learn a language, right, is just do a little bit of prep work, because you'll thank yourself later, right? Come up with a game plan about how you want to approach learning this language. It doesn't sound super fun, but you'll thank yourself later because you'll make a lot more progress than if you didn't. And it's just everything will be just so much easier and accelerated, right? Set up a game plan for how you plan on learning a language. And really the first step of that is setting goals, right? Set goals of what you want to achieve and be very specific about them. Have your goals be measurable, time-oriented, SMART goals basically. So, and really try to figure that out. So just a couple of suggestions with that, right? Like, what is your goal with the language at the end of the year, right? Is it trying to be fluent? Are you trying to pass a certain test? Use the language in a certain context. Maybe it's studying a certain amount of hours, in an average year, right? Maybe it's a couple hundred hours or 100 hours or whatever it is. Maybe it's to watch movies in a foreign language. Set those goals, write them down. Don't just have them in your head. Write them down somewhere, right? In either on your computer, on a notebook, whatever it is. And then have some sort of system to track your progress of those goals, right? And try to look at that as frequently as you can, whether that's daily, weekly, monthly. You got to kind of adjust according to your schedule and what you want to do, but try to track those things too. So with that out of the way, we kind of have this framework for where we want to go and an accountability system to kind of help us to get there, right? To make sure that we're putting in that time. Now, I think after that, we want to do two things, right? Number one, we want to establish kind of what material we're going to do and we're going to use, and then a routine with that. So the first thing with content, especially as a beginner, I can just tell you right now that a lot of language learning is just about figuring things out, and you're going to do things that are inefficient at first or maybe aren't the most effective, and you're just going to try things out. Be okay with that. As you learn more and you have more experience with the language, you'll kind of find out what works for you and what doesn't work. And I think the big thing is to keep testing things out. So I think first off, have a main program that you're using to learn a language, right? You don't have to go and spend a lot of money on some sort of expensive software or anything like that, but try to have kind of this main thing that you're using to learn the language. It's like kind of your main study tool, right? And I think at the beginning, it should just be some sort of like beginner thing, right? Maybe it's a language learning app like Duolingo or a Pimsleur or something like that. Maybe it's a language learning book, like a 10 minutes a day book or something like that. Have like a main thing that you're using. And don't really worry too much about the method. I know there's a lot of people out there that will tell you, please use this method, this is the best, whatever. Just, especially if you're struggling, you're thinking about quitting, just have, some sort of method first off, right? Then I think just two things to kind of, have to go with that, right, is number one, try to have like a good system for learning words. The biggest thing you want to do at the beginning phases of a language is learn a lot of words, right? Don't really worry about the grammar rules. I would really stay away from that for the most part. really stick to something that's going to help you to learn a lot of words, right? Maybe that's a beginner textbook. Maybe that's a flashcard system like Memrise or something like that. So try to have like a vocabulary system for learning new words constantly, right? So you have that beginner textbook or that beginner app or whatever it is, and then another system for kind of learning words, right? Because that's where you really want to be, right? So you have this kind of all-in picture and then this thing that's helping you to learn words. I think the third thing is have something that you're doing that's just kind of random, right? This third thing that is just something that you're trying out, right? Maybe you want to try listening to music in a foreign language. Maybe it's Netflix. Maybe it's another language learning app, right? Have that third thing just be this kind of thing that you're experimenting with at the beginning. You're just trying different things out. Maybe it's a certain website, it's a book, whatever it is. Have that third thing that kind of rotates to new things. And don't be afraid, right? Like if you find that the book that you're using is not effective and a language learning app is better, don't be afraid to replace that main thing that you're using or to use something that's a little bit more advanced as you get better. Then I think the fourth thing to put in there is do something that is fun, right? And it's going to be tough at the beginning because you really only have so much skill in the language, and that's why I kind of recommended having that thing that's helping you to learn vocabulary, because that's like the single biggest like thing that's going to really help you to get past that beginner stage. But try to have something that's fun in your routine, right? Don't have it be everything, but have something that's fun, right? Whether that's music, whether that's movies, podcasts, trying to read something, maybe it's a conversation partner. Do something that you think it would be fun in the foreign language. Even if your skill level is just like way down here and the requirement is up here, just try it. It's going to motivate you to get to that level, right? If anything, even if you don't learn anything from the movie, right? What it's doing is it's kind of helping you to be motivated to do those things that's going to help you to understand the movie later on. And who knows, you actually might get a little bit out of the movie or whatever you're doing for fun in your language learning process anyway. So these are my quick tips. In the end of the day, don't give up, right? It's incredibly rewarding. It's a very difficult part at the very beginning that a lot of people just struggle with and end up quitting. Don't be one of those people. You can do it. Just set up that plan and try to set up a very good routine along with that, right? I think that's the last thing is just, once you have that study material and those goals, set up a routine, be consistent, right? Do the language learning process every single day, right? Or every single week, right? It doesn't have to be a huge commitment of like 4 hours every single day. Even if it's just 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, that time consistently over time is going to make the process easier. It's going to feel more natural and more normal. And when you have the goals, the tracking of progress, a good strategy, and a routine, you're just going to make a lot of progress. You just got to stick with it. So these are my quick tips, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.